Let me go to our Kano studio where we have an authority, Professor Danbatta, who joins us from our Kano studio. Thank you so much, Prof, for coming on tonight. Give us a sense of what is happening. A lot of people are worried. And it's some of the things that have been going around when people say 5G network is dangerous and that, in fact, there are people of the opinion that birds, trees are being affected, birds die, animals die, especially those ones that are close to the repeater stations of the 5G installations. What is true? Is it true or is it a myth, Prof?
Well, thank you very much. Let me first of all say the type of radiation we're talking about is non-ionizing radiation. And this type of radiation is being regulated by the International Commission for Non-Ionization Radiation Protection. And therefore, before any spectrum is assigned for the rollout of telecommunication services, this commission would have looked at the spectrum in question and advise all agencies all over the world. I'm talking here about regulatory agencies in telecommunications about the safety or not of utilizing such spectra for the deployment of telecommunication services. In addition to the International Commission for non-ionizing, radiation protection, we have the International Telecommunications Union, and we have the IEEE. These are standards-making bodies of global reckoning who will strongly advise against the deployment of any spectrum that will have adverse effects on the safety of citizens all over the world. As yet, we do not have any scientific evidence to show any correlation between the 5G spectrum and the COVID-19 virus as we're talking. At the national level, that is, I'm talking about in the Nigerian context, what we have done so far is to embark on a trial, a 5G trial using two spectra, 3.5 and 26 gigahertz. We are presently studying the results of these tests. I'm talking about the trial tests. And the commission will come up with a position as to the safety or otherwise of this particular spectrum which we have deployed for the rollout of trial services in 5 locations in the country. This study or this results of this trial are being studied in the commission. What we're interested in here is whether the levels of radiation from these emissions are either below or above the levels specified by these international regulatory agencies.
Professor Danbatta, let me, if I may come in quickly, yeah. Apologies, please. Let me quickly put this question in. There are a lot of people who are also with the theory that in China, Wuhan was the first city where 5G was rolled out. In the United States, there are people of the opinion that it was rolled out in New York. And if you look at the trend and the spread of the coronavirus, some of the scientists and those who have the opinion that there is a correlation between the coronavirus and 5G is valid. Is there any, from that point of view, how would you react to that?
Well, I would say we do not have as yet any scientific evidence to support the theory you have just advanced. I think we have to be very, very careful about associating the 5G spectrum with the spread of COVID-19 in those places you have listed. I believe there are a few countries in the world where the death rates are equally very high, but in which the 5G services are have not been rolled out as yet.
But, Prof, if you give us an understanding, and perhaps those who are also of the theory, who have proven the theory that some of the repeater stations of some of the installations of the 5G, trees be close to them. If you look at the backs and the leaves are just gone dry and dead, and on the other side of it, the trees are blossoming on the other side, and in fact, the birds and animals are not surviving in those environments. What would you say to this also?
I don't know what environments you are talking about. If you are talking about the Nigerian environments, we normally conduct tests around, sites of base transceiver stations all over the country. And it is on the basis of these tests that we establish whether radiations emanating from the devices that are put there intentionally to provide services to citizens, where these radiations are harmful to the people within those, locations and, outside, those locations. And as yet, we have not come across any base transceiver station emitting harmful radiations, to citizens of this country.
Prof, if we may close on this note, there are also those who have the concern that the height of some of the installation is just as low as a two-story building, which some people consider as harmful and too close to call or too close to human existence. And if you can quickly just respond also to the fact that how much of the rollout of the 5G connectivity do we have in Nigeria?
Well, I will quickly respond to your last question. So far, there is no rollout of commercial 5G services in this country. I want to assure Nigerians about this. And the reason for this is because the whole issue of 5G is still at the trial stage. And this has just been concluded, and we will come up with a statement recommending to government as to the safety or otherwise of the rollout of 5G services. As for the heights of base transceiver stations, masts, these again are regulated by the Commission, including even step back, distance away from, houses, dwellings, and so on and so forth. And every base transceiver station that is being installed must conform to the specifications which have been spelled out, in our guidelines.
Professor?
If there are such base transceiver stations, our attention, should be drawn so that we can take regulatory action.
I must sincerely thank you for the time that you've spared for us. Professor Umar Danbatta is the Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight and sharing your thoughts and clearing the air about some of these issues. We need to go now, but we have 10 seconds for Tony.
Thank you very much. It's my
Thank you, Prof. Tony, your final word.
My final word is, I think that they should have completed the tests and the studies or the epidemiological studies before they even did the trial. I think that the study should be done first before even a trial. So there's something wrong with that for me in process.
Tony Nwakalo, environmental biologist. Thank you so much for